Jerk alert!
You eat pieces of shit for breakfast?
Tractor beam sucked me right in.
He slimed me.
It's not a tumor.
You're killing me, Smalls.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Movie Roulette Podcast. My name is Strauss.
I'm Jason.
And I'm Andy.
And guys, think about this scenario for a second.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Sleep all day, party all night, never grow old, never die. It's fun to be a vampire.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Peter Pan.
And no, now that is a little bit, you're onto the right track here.
Or Tommy Lee. I mean,
Tommy Lee and his huge schlong.
Yeah. Tommy Lee's just been fucking cruising through life. Let's be straight honest about it.
No shit.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Doesn't run into a lot of fucking roadblocks, that man.
We've got a movie, The Lost Boys.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that little slogan, that little tagline is the kind of their motto for life, but it's also on the cover of the video.
You
know,
on the movie poster?
The movie poster, the cover. So, yeah, I've got a lot to say about this movie, but I think first we should take a shot.
Okay.
And then, Andy, you can tell us,
tell you a little bit
some
about
of the technical things about the movie, huh?
Yeah, I think that should work.
All right. Let's keep it off of Shroud's Mount Book Pro.
Sure.
Mount Brook Pro.
Hail Xenu.
Hail David.
Kiefer Sutherland.
Hail Kiefer Sutherland for sure.
And Bill S. President Esquire.
Hail all of them.
Now, here's the thing.
Donald Sutherland.
Alex Winter. Here's the thing, guys. We're still doing Dr. McGillicuddy's Butterscotch.
Oh, yeah.
Because we love it.
I think it's probably perming.
There's really no reason to do any other type of shot.
Well, we did do the grape the last time, and it was.
Well, yeah, we do. Oh, didn't you get another flavor too?
I did not. Yeah, I haven't.
Okay, we need to get the apple pie or whatever.
But I did try it with Sprite. Delicious.
What's
the grape?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say, quite a bit is gone.
I bet it's great.
Yep. So
grape is great.
Grape is great.
So, Andy.
Just like Jan Fisher, who wrote this movie along with James Jeremias and Jeffrey Boehm. This was directed by Joel Schumacher.
He makes shoes.
Shoemaker. And movies. Starring Jason Patric, Kiefer Sutherland, Corey Haim, Corey Feldman, Jami Gertz, Jameson Newlander, Diane Wiest, not West.
Yeah,
it's Wiest.
Bernard Hughes, and Edward Herman.
Paige
I
and Mr. Herman.
I got a couple things real quick about those people.
The people in the movie?
Yeah. Now, you just mentioned Corey Haim and Corey Feldman.
Yes.
This is their first movie together.
Yep, that we've done too, which is kind of strange.
It's their first movie together in general.
I know,
yeah.
but
yeah.
We've already covered a few Corey Feldman movies, and we hadn't got a Haim one yet, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
It feels kind of weird.
But this is the there's a popular 1980s trend they called the two Coreys, which these two guys started movies together. This was the first. This is where it started. Also, Corey Haim and Kiefer Sutherland have already been in a movie we just did not too long ago. Stand By Me.
Stand By Me.
That was episode 39.
Feldman was also
the pod is at work as always.
Always.
He was in The Goonies and The Burbs as well.
Yeah.
And for our short-lived little podcast.
Oh, you're back on Feldman.
Yeah, I'm just saying Feldman has made his way in.
Yeah, he has.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, you were saying something.
Yeah. So if you have not seen this, I can't wait for this. All right.
Hey, listen here, you civilian yuppies. Santa Carla has become a hotbed of vampy activity. And let me tell you all about the time that me and my brother Alan stopped it all. These two guys and their mom moved in with their roadkill gathering grandpa, and literally the first night they moved in, they ran into the vampies. The older brother Michael gets turned into a half vampy, but that's totally fine because he's going after this totally hotbed. The younger brother does the only smart thing and calls us, the Frog Brothers, to take care of it. Can we kill all the vampies before they take over Santa Carla? Let's pray to the Green Lantern that we can, and always remember, there's only two things that can stop the vampies: truth, justice, and the American way.
When did Edgar Frog get a speech impediment?
Yeah, seriously, why does he talk like this?
Why is he talking like this? Why? Are you sure that this is how he would talk?
He just talks like this.
He talks like this.
He's like
He's doing a Stallone. He's a little bit.
he's like trying to be an action hero.
I understand
but you made
it.
him deaf,
No, I made him
which is interesting.
like as I kept
Sorry, that's insensitive to laugh at.
as I kept listening to
don't
him
laugh at
talk,
that.
as I kept listening to him talk throughout the movie, because like I zoned in on him as doing his voice like right away. I was like, I'm gonna do this one, but it's just like the more I listen to it, it's like Corey Feldman being like, I'm dropping it a whole octave, and I'm trying to talk and sound cool and leave my mouth open. And I was like, and it just naturally went to, oh my god, what's going on, guys? Like fucking Joe Cooper or something like that.
Sounds like it. It was an interesting choice.
I'm just glad that we're doing the Lost Boys, guys. That's all I gotta say. Is I'm glad we're doing the Lost Boys.
Yeah.
Me too. I'm glad I am found with you guys doing the Lost Boys. That was lame as shit.
That was.
But
You got to leave that in. You can't take that out.
No, you're supposed to leave it in because it was stupid, and I said it on purpose. No, but it is exciting to be back.
Yeah.
You know, we all work for a living.
I miss you
This is
guys.
so
There's a
fun.
2-week gap between recordings, and I miss you guys while I'm gone.
Yeah. Even like when I'm leaving my house, I'm always just like, all right, here we go. And then I get here, I'm like, yeah. This is fun.
It is
All right.
fun.
You know what else is fun?
Scene one.
No, we
Nope. Got initial thoughts, bud.
initial thoughts.
Well,
there,
you
Chief.
just set me up to do that thing that you do, you son of a bitch. You tried to trick
You
me.
always take us into initial thoughts, Jason.
I know. My initial thoughts on this thing was when it came up on the wheel, I saw it. So excited. I was like, holy fuck. Because I do like these kind of cult classic movies from my childhood that I really enjoyed. And I was overwhelmingly thrilled. I don't remember the first time I ever saw this movie. Like most of the movies on the wheel, they're movies that have been with me forever. Mm-hmm. And that's the way this one felt as well.
Forever.
Yeah,
Forever.
Forever.
One
So
could say.
since this is one of your favorite movies, you get to go last, because I remember knowing about this movie but never seeing it until like high school.
Oh, God.
Because I was like in high school. And
Gee, Billy, I wish I could go to hike school.
Stay here.
Never say that. Stay here as long as you can.
Nice.
But,
Nice.
Gee, I can't wait till I go to hike school.
Don't you say that. Don't you ever say that. Stay here. Stay as long as you can. For the love of God, cherish it.
Jennifer, why don't you try reading out loud for a minute, okay?
like I haven't seen. I think I saw this maybe late '90s, early 2000s, and that was the last time I've seen
Yeah,
it.
you mentioned that when we
Hold
rolled
on.
it. Didn't
The
you?
first
You
time
had-
you saw it was the last time you saw it?
I think so.
You
I think
haven't
I've only
watched
seen,
this
like,
since the
once or-
90s.
Yeah, I think I've seen this like
Until this time.
2 or 3
hold
times.
on.
2 or 3 times.
That is
max.
freaking weird. So, because this is one of those movies that I have no idea how many times I've seen this movie.
Well, and see, like I know that like,
Same. Hundreds.
I saw it. Like I knew about it. I knew all of the stories because people have talked about it and everything like that. So I kind of knew it. Then I saw it and I was like, "That's right. Okay, I know what this is." And I loved it right away because of Jami Gertz.
Yeah. No, I
Jami Gertz.
That was it. Go.
I have seen this. I mean, I don't remember the first time specifically. Of course, I never do. We started renting it somewhat frequently in the late '80s video store era.
Mm-hmm.
And then I loved it. I mean, I loved it from the first time I saw it. I don't recall that specific watch, but I just knew I loved it right away. We eventually got our own VHS copy, and
Hey,
the rest is history.
You and your family have spent $83 on this movie in the past 6 months.
Why did you just buy it?
I'm selling it over here for $12.99. Come on, do yourself a favor.
Yeah. So
What is
we
that
did
from?
it. We did eventually.
I'm just making it up because I'm just picturing shots
we-
going in there like, I'd like to rent the Lost Boys again. And they're like, dude, again?
Yeah.
Just buy it.
Well, that was how it was with Rad, but then my aunt actually dubbed us a copy off of HBO. She had HBO. But anyway, we eventually got our own copy on VHS, and the rest is history. I've had several different copies of this on VHS and DVD over the years.
Blu-ray.
I currently have. I don't think it's a Blu-ray, but it's a double disc version with like a whole disc.
Double dribble.
Double dibble. Welcome to Boston.
Sometimes I can't help it.
Yeah, you guys are stepping on my dick a lot today. Anyway, I have a double disc version, and the one entire disc is bonus stuff, and there's a little bit of bonus stuff even on the main disc. This movie is definitely in my top 5 of all time, and likely in my top 3. So I'm absolutely. You guys heard me when we rolled it.
Oh yeah.
I am a massive, massive fan of this movie. So, that being said,
who's ready for scene
you
one?
ready for scene one?
Yeah,
I think I could do scene one.
I could do it.
Let's go ahead and
I could do scene one.
Let's go ahead and do scene one.
I like that.
Scene one.
Scene one.
Scene one.
The Lost Boys opens in fictional Santa Carla.
Santa Carla.
Scene one.
Scene one.
The Lost Boys opens in fictional Santa Carla, California. It's a seaside town that has a boardwalk filled with activities, roller coasters, and a rich counterculture. I had to add that roller coaster part.
Had to.
Because it's important. There also seems to be a lot of missing people around here.
That's weird.
As the town is introduced, we see a local motorcycle gang of street toughs harassing a couple on a merry-go-round before they're kicked off the boardwalk by a security guard. In a strange coincidence, that very security guard is attacked and taken by some mysterious creatures from the sky that night on the way to his car.
Strange things are afoot in Santa Carla.
The next day, we meet Michael Emerson, his younger brother Sam, and his dog Nanook, and their recently divorced mother Lucy, who are moving to Santa Carla from Phoenix, Arizona, to live with their eccentric maternal grandfather.
No TV, but a lot of taxidermy.
Yeah.
That night, the Emersons head to the boardwalk to check out their new city. Lucy finds a job at a video store owned by Bachelor Max. Michael becomes fascinated by Star, a beautiful girl he spots on the boardwalk.
Did you know Jami Gertz is like the richest actress of all time?
Is that true?
Yes.
Yeah. We'll have to look up her net worth. It's unbelievable.
I got it.
He follows her around until she gets on the back of a motorcycle with David, the leader of the local biker gang. In the local comic book store, Sam meets brothers Edgar and Alan Frog, a pair of self-proclaimed vampire hunters. They give a skeptical Sam some horror comics to teach him about the undead threat they claim has infiltrated the town. And in another strange coincidence, the couple that was being harassed on the merry-go-round last night,
Yeah.
they're both attacked and taken by some mysterious creatures from the sky.
No way.
The next day, Sam gets more unsolicited information from the Frog Brothers at the comic shop, and Michael is approached by Star on the boardwalk. Through Star, Michael is drawn into the orbit of David's motorcycle gang. They challenge him with several tests of courage and offer him initiation into the gang.
You don't have to beat me, Michael. You just have to try to keep up.
During a delicious meal of maggot rice and worm noodles in their hangout, an abandoned luxury hotel sunken beneath the cliff by the 1906 earthquake, Star warns Michael that an offered bottle of wine is actually blood. But he ignores her in favor of the immense peer pressure he's under, and he drinks from it.
Drink some of this, Michael. Be one of us.
Then the last test for Michael involves dropping from a train bridge into the foggy darkness below with his dangerous new friends.
Oh,
A lot to say, friends. A lot to say.
lots.
I did not know that this was a Richard Donner movie.
Yeah.
I knew that it was a Schumacher, but I didn't realize that Donner produced it.
And he kind of, he was an executive producer, and he kind of stepped out at some point.
Okay.
So he's not even in the final, when you look on like IMDb or Wikipedia, all that.
he's not on there.
He's not listed, but he's on screen credited
Yep.
during the intro. I love how in the beginning of this, we get the WB logo because the movie's starting, and you can hear the little kid chanting, "Ah, little sister." He's like singing the song.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
I don't know if you picked up on that.
I actually did notice it this time.
And then that song, iconic, amazing. I love that song. That's Gerard McMahon. He wrote that song after reading the script without seeing the film. The thing about these four guys, and they're played, we got Kiefer Sutherland, Alex Winter, Billy Worth, and Brooke McCarter. Those play the four Lost Boys.
Okay.
David, Marco, Paul, and Dwayne.
Okay.
I think they look fucking badass in this movie. I think they could look like this today and still pull it off.
They look
like vampires.
A lot of Aquanet.
I don't think they're. I don't know. It's not that teased. It's really not. Marco's got some sort of gel in his hair, but that's about it.
There's a lot of hair.
Okay, so the guys are on the board. We're on the boardwalk.
Yeah.
I had a lot to say to start it out, but there's a fight between the surf Nazis and the Lost Boys.
Okay, so they're the surf Nazis. That group of guys. And, fuck them, because later on they steal comic books. Those fucking assholes.
Spoiler alert.
I know, but it's just a little bit.
They are assholes.
Yeah, they're the town assholes.
They deserve what comes to them later. But
it seems like there's like an agreement. Like, all right, boys, you're not supposed to be on the boardwalk.
Yeah. Well, and then that security guard. How many people have died because of those fucking door handles? He couldn't get it open, that door handle, because there's a push button, and you got to pull. You got to push the button all the way in and then pull it out.
Yeah, he gone.
Yeah, I think his family should sue the manufacturer.
Now, one thing that this is the first rung, but when the dude gets yanked when the security guard gets yanked up and he's holding on to the door because he can't open it because of that fucking thing, the strength, it lies in his hand to pull off. So that guy could have yanked the door off.
Exactly.
That doesn't make any sense.
It's likely that they would have pulled him away from the door rather than the door coming out.
Yep.
But
Yep.
it's just showing how they're superhuman. And
yeah. Well, so then the security guard's superhuman as well because he was able to rip a door off.
Diane Wiest as Lucy.
Yeah, so because after that, it's almost like the soft intro, letting you know what we're getting into with the boardwalk. They do a good job of introducing the city and the vibe of the city, and then once that scene's over, we're back to the next day.
Yeah,
or it's daytime, and we see this family arriving. The car pulling the trailer, and we get to meet the family. Which Diane Wiest does rule.
I think that she plays this, this sweet, loving mother in the best way. She has the face for it.
Oh yeah.
I think that this performance of hers is just incredible.
There's one.
She's so believable as this sweet mother.
Yeah.
And I love.
There's
her
this one scene that's coming up, and I have notes on it when it comes to just like this woman rules.
While they're on that little, after we're introduced to them.
Yep.
We're getting a little bit of dialogue with them, maybe even before we are in the car with them. You're getting a vibe of like something's wrong here. I've got a bunch of that. I've got a bunch about that.
Then the People Are Strange cover kicks in.
Yeah.
And that's a little montage of, and it gives us kind of the counterculture side of the town. We see a lot of punks,
Santa Carla,
like an
sign,
area of
and then
town
Michael looks
that would
back
be
and there's a bunch of shit
we would almost
all
call
over
the
the back
college
of
town,
it.
but it's since it's a oceanside town, it's almost just a normal kind of boardwalk. There's like punk rockers and skateboarders and like what we would call scene kids.
Yeah,
a bunch of
they look
a bunch
normal.
Oh shit, a bunch of freaks and punkers but
they look normal.
But I've got some stuff about the billboard real quick. When they pass it, it says "Welcome to Santa Carla," and they get. I don't know why Michael thinks to turn around and look at it after they passed it, but you see on spray painted in giant letters, "Murder Capital of the World."
Yep.
Anytime I show this movie to somebody that's never seen it, I make sure that they're paying attention and see that. It's such an important.
Guys.
I'm not really, but that is such an important thing of this movie.
Yeah,
because they talk about it. It gives you an idea of like where they're coming into.
But the idea is it's more the missing capital.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they're finding bodies also, and people are missing, which just shows you. But like the missing posters and
I was going to bring that up when Diane Wiest is
we can't assume
by.
that we can't assume that just because there's a lot of people missing that there's not a lot of murders too.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. It must be both.
That slogan on the back actually comes. It's in reference because this actually takes this. Santa Carla in the movie Santa Cruz is the city that they actually are using.
Yes.
And I love.
Go ahead.
The dog. Are we there yet?
Yeah,
do you guys have anything else
arriving at Grandpa's property?
They pull up to Grandpa's house.
And his property is dope.
That house is fucking amazing. That's actually the Pogo Nip Clubhouse. That was an old clubhouse with a swimming pool and tennis courts and everything way back in the day. It sits on like a reserve of land.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's where they filmed that.
I think that Grandpa's yard reminded me of last year's Halloween fun. Ernest Scared Stupid.
Yeah, I was
Old Lady Hackmore vibe.
Yeah, but I was also thinking
with cactuses.
Not quite as packed as Hackmore's, but you know,
I was thinking more. Fuck, I just lost it. Scared. Stupid. Nope.
Nothing but trouble.
That's it. Thank you.
Now Hackmore's is a much smaller version of that.
The thing is, it looks more crowded than it is because there's a lot of trees. There's a lot of palm trees. There's cactuses. There's different which is my favorite kind of vegetation,
little
like
sculptures and shit too.
Cacti.
And when they arrive, Grandpa's laying on the porch. He looks dead.
Dad.
That it just shows that he has a quirky sense of humor, kind of a dark sense of humor. It totally fits the vibe of this town.
Oh yeah.
He is. I really did like the introduction of that character and like what he did.
I definitely like Grandpa.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah, he is
like a local character.
He's my
his house, the way he's like dressed, and I love his like crotchety grandpa voice. He rules, and he's like funny. I don't know. He's like a good grandpa.
He is my third favorite character in this, and we'll pull him out as we go.
So when they get into the house, the boys are like looking around, and they're like,
"Pretty cool place." Yes,
Dude,
that's the line of dialogue that all of us kids immediately attach to, like, oh, grandpa's with no TV.
Yeah, why don't they have a
Oh,
TV?
man.
But, well, he has a form of it.
We're not there yet.
Okay, but
So anyway, the boys are running through the house, right?
no running through the house.
No running through the house, and then they fucking go and they open Grandpa's taxidermy workshop.
Yeah.
And Michael goes, talk about this Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Sam goes, Grandpa goes, rules. But anyway, yeah, now we're on the boardwalk. Camera shots over the water that pan into the boardwalk. These are stunning, by the way.
Oh yeah.
And then there's like a bird-like sound effect that you hear. Seagull kind of sound that every time the vampires are coming, they do it. It's a little squeaky. That
It's a
adds to the
funny
creepiness of the shot. It's a
squeaking
funny. God damn it! I'm not excited not to do that anymore. and then the first thing we see is the oily, sexy sax man Tim Capello.
Yes.
Performing the song "I Still Believe," which
I
is
Still Believe.
it's actually a cover by a band called The Call. That's who wrote that song, the original version of it. It's an iconic scene, and it's corny, but it's like,
Yes.
man, I love it.
As
It's
long as
so
we all
good.
know it's corny, but I do love the scene, but it is corny, but it's also a sign of the times. All of it.
Yeah.
All of it. Like,
I think at that time it wasn't really that. You wouldn't have watched that and been like, "Oh God, that's corny." You'd been like,
yeah,
It was badass.
it's
"Yeah," or you'd be like, "Listen, I don't like this kind of music." But
I also
get why
don't
it's
think
in
it
this.
would have worked if they would have got some iconic like band. They got like the vibe of the movie and the boardwalk and
Right.
all the people walking around. This performance works, I think, really, really well.
Oh, 100%.
I think
Yeah.
it leans in too far in any one direction if you
get
actually
some
put a
Robert-
known artist on there.
If you get some Robert Smith dude up there, it's just not. It isn't gonna.
Anybody that that the world was
It'll-
like ultra familiar with, I think it would have like been like.
Well, I'm just saying like that type of thing, and they're just playing a cover or something like that. But I think that this, like you said, it fits the movie. It like, and it's become an iconic scene.
Yeah,
it has.
That's the most probably for a lot of people that have only seen this a couple times. That's probably one of the things they remember the
Yeah.
most.
But
yeah, that's
like
good.
you do see Jamie. I'm sorry. Well, Star. Oh God, and like
you said you had her net worth, Jami Gertz.
She is at $8 billion.
$8.
Her and her
billion
husband
with a
own two
B.
different he owns like two different investment firms, which holds $500 billion and $300 billion in assets.
Because I didn't mean to mislead and make everyone think that her acting career is what paid her.
No,
not at all.
Like, okay, so when you do see her in there, I swear every single time I see this scene, it is the scene from Wayne's World when he sees Tia Carrere on stage.
Okay.
Dreamweaver just starts playing. Sorry about Tim,
Bruh.
whatever his name is. The
Tim Capello?
That's it.
Tim,
Bruh.
you're gonna give him a shout out on our podcast?
Okay, sorry. I totally forgot. There was something that was. In slow
So
motion.
since he's skipping ahead again and wants to finish this thing in like 10 minutes,
It seems like it.
we skipped. Star isn't coming in yet.
Yeah,
So
because
we're gonna backtrack again.
yeah, Lucy's walking the boardwalk while the kids are at the concert, and she's just. We kind of find out she's getting acclimated, but also kind of keeping her eyes and ears open for the job hunt because she just moved here. She's going to need to work. And she does see a little crying child outside of the local video store.
Okay, well,
She also sees a bulletin board with missing people on it.
Yep.
And
Yes.
one of them being the security guard we saw
Yeah,
killed
but the
earlier.
night before, his wife was-
name. His wife is posting it up. His name is Vernon Beasley.
Fucking Vern.
That's the name of the security guard.
Vern, God damn it.
He was asking for it.
Vernon Beasley.
But his name is Vern.
Lucy helps out little Terry.
Hey, Terry.
She goes into the video store, and this is it. She had already seen the help wanted sign on the video
Yeah.
store.
Yep.
The Lost Boys actually walk in there.
Uh-huh.
And they try to, they're kind of hitting on the other girl that's working behind the counter.
Yeah,
we only come here to
just
watch
being
one
like-
thing.
Yeah, just being like kind of shitty, intimidating dudes.
Douchebags.
And you can see the guys, the Lost Boy guys they're looking at Max and they're looking at Lucy. And at the end of this movie, you realize why they were there,
Yep.
why
Yep.
they were circling, and why they were like looking at them like that.
Yes.
But anyway, yeah, he introduces
Yeah.
himself, and that we get introduced to Thorn, which is another cool dog. I think he's just a white German Shepherd.
Oh, he is, and he's so beautiful.
Yeah, and then
Thorn and Nook both dead.
she's like,
Fuck, I knew that. I looked at you. I knew that was fucking coming, you asshole.
That's they're outside of the video. We're done with the video store.
Yeah, and that's when it cuts back out to Sam like chasing Michael, being like,
Yeah, Michael and Sam
"You're
are like,
chasing that girl, aren't you?"
going out, through
Yeah.
the crowd, chasing after who we find out is Star and Laddie. Sam goes, "So where are we going?" and this is where we notice how often Corey Haim starts his fucking sentences with his mouth open. He almost always starts his. He's always like, maybe.
Oh yeah.
So they're in the comic book store. Or he walks in and he sees the two employees, and they're dressed in like,
Fatigue.
Basically like camouflage and like headbands and shit. And they're staring at him pretty aggressively, following him around.
Okay, so after my cool, awesome thing about the comic books, there's also another thing that pisses me off. They have that comic book cart out there, and the surfer Nazis yank a bunch of them.
It's such a crime-ridden town. You can't have your.
Well,
comics
here's
out
the
front.
thing. It's like in baseball cards. There's probably like commons. Like these comics are worth $1.
Those were your Archies and your fucking Jugheads and shit like that.
And that's what they
there.
end up showing them reading, a sad sack.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're not reading like Marvel, DC. They're reading like Archie and probably what's the family one?
Family Circus.
Family Circus, shit like that.
But so the thing that I have a question about, I don't think the vampires like cars very much, because they ripped the car door off of it with Vernon, and now they're ripping the roof off when with the surf Nazis. That's where I am at next.
He hates
there's some
these
other
cars.
He hates these cars.
Yeah, there's
more
some
cars.
More cars.
There's some other stuff like I didn't have anything really important. There's just more. There's like more of Michael and Sam like following Star.
Yeah.
And then they end up like following her to the Lost Boys, and she gets on the back of David's bike.
Yeah, it's like, oh.
And David and Star kind of smile slyly at Michael, and the gang peels out and leaves. And Star like nearly breaks her neck. She goes,
yeah,
she's
she's
turn around and look at him.
Totally looking at him.
And then Sam goes, "Come on, she stiffed you."
Totally.
And then we get to the scene
surf
where
Nazis.
the surf Nazis. He's like the leader and his girlfriend. They're sitting down in the back of that old broken down car that's like immobile.
Yeah.
And there's piles and piles of comics in there. So they've been stealing comics probably for a while.
That's fun. That's a good little thing to do. I
Yeah.
mean, I love comics.
She's reading Sad Sack, and she's laughing like her ass. She's laughing her ass off while this dude's trying to like make out with her.
And I mean, I do not hate on that guy trying to make out there, because she was a very cute girl. A very cute girl. And
I
sad
thought
that
I
happened.
heard something.
She almost became a vampire.
She did.
Forget it.
But anyway, yeah, the guys come. We don't know who it is, but the roof of the car is ripped off.
Yeah.
And they are pulled out of the car straight up into the air and gone.
Yeah, because we still haven't seen a vampire.
So yeah, he's clearly somebody hates cars.
Someone hates these cars.
I don't know who's making the decisions for the Lost Boys, but they hate cars.
Yep.
Anyway, we're in the comic book store again.
Notice anything unusual about Santa Carla?
They show
yet?
the Frog Brothers' parents, and they're like just passed out. They look like hippies passed out.
Oh, that's right.
at the cash
I never
register
even paid
behind the
attention
counter.
that was
So,
the parents.
you saw them,
Which
you
is
saw them
hilarious.
last time. You saw them.
They're always asleep.
Yeah.
Just
So
back there.
was that their parents? Because like
they actually own the shop. Because I'd always like wondered, why do the Frog Brothers run a business?
Yeah.
Now it makes more sense of seeing those like old people passed out back there.
It's
Okay.
their parents.
So
And they actually say something later about their parents, so we know that that's their parents. But yeah, so there's some dialogue here. I don't know if you have the whole thing, but I've got. So in this scene, two men can be seen playing pinball as Sam comes into the comic book store this time.
Yeah.
The guy with the facial hair is Joe Ferrara II. It's the second, the owner of Atlantis Fantasy World, which was used in the film as to stand in for the Frog Brothers family comic book store. This comic book store in the film is made to appear to be located at the Santa Cruz Boardwalk, but in reality, it was actually a few blocks away.
Michael's walking around alone. He's clearly looking for Star.
Oh yeah,
but he's like not letting on. And he sees this girl getting her ear pierced or something. But then Star finds him and approaches him.
Oh yeah,
He buys his leather jacket in this scene too,
and he squeaks away. Did you hear how loud that thing squeaked as he walked?
He bought that leather jacket though because he saw who Star was running with, and he's trying to get.
Yeah,
he's trying to get Star, and so
he's also it's also summer in the Bay, so you know it's fucking cold.
But it's not cold. They're swimming. It's summertime.
The coldest winter I ever spent was a summer in San Francisco. Who said that?
I don't know, but
Mark
that person
Twain.
has not been in where it's cold.
San Francisco is not cold ever. It's cooler than here.
It's a Mark Twain quote because he was up there. Anyways.
So he's standing there at the piercer, and Star comes up behind him.
But David rolls up at this point, and it's like almost like Joe's like, "What are you doing, Star?"
Yeah, he comes in hot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he does.
Like in the whole crew.
Where are you going, Star?
Yeah. And she's about for a ride. This is Michael. And then he's like,
star.
Yeah, because Michael's
gives
like,
her
yeah.
the look.
And Michael is going to take her anyway. He's
yeah. He's like, fuck you guys.
He's like, let's go.
I have my leather jacket now. I am cool.
You know where Hudson's Bluff is, overlooking the point? I can't beat your bike. You don't have to beat me, Michael. You just have to try and keep up.
We're going for a ride.
But as they start to take off, we get Lost in the Shadows, The Lost Boys by Lou Gramm.
Yep.
Which is, he was the frontman of Foreigner for years.
Yep.
I fucking love this song. It's so good.
Yeah, they're just cruising on the beach, like super high speeds.
Uh-huh. Now, I do have another question about something here. In the
What is
80s,
it?
were they just giving away dirt bikes to teenagers? Is that, because
They were selling them.
No, because like Johnny and all of his crew had one.
Yeah, the Karate Kid.
All the Vampies did. The Dirt Bike Kid, the Dancing Queens from Footloose, Wild Thing and the Wraith. I don't know if you guys ever saw that. The Wraith is with Charlie Sheen, Wild Thing. There's a lot of dirt bikes in movies.
I think that they just that was a popular thing for teenagers to ride back then.
Yeah, you went from
what happened to him? I would let Gavin have a dirt bike.
So they're racing down the beach, sand flying out behind them. They have gone past the lights of the boardwalk. They're at the dark end of the beach now.
Yeah,
and it's just them.
Only they end up going through some trees too.
Do they?
Yeah.
Like,
I don't remember that. Only the light of their headlights is all you can see. They get going super fast. Michael keeps up along with him, almost passing David. And David's like, "Come on, let's go." He's encouraging him because he's setting him up.
Yep.
He sees light down below ground level and crashes his bike just before a fucking cliff.
Yeah.
He looks down, seeing how far he could have fallen, and he gets back. David was trying to set him up to ride over the edge of the cliff. He gets up and runs at David and fucking punches him right in the face.
That's the second Kiefer movie in a row where someone has say that to his character.
Yeah. How far are you willing to go, Michael?
Oh, man.
And then they go down into their lair.
There's a
cave.
lot of layers in the 80s as well.
I just like calling it. Jason likes to always call stuff a layer.
Yeah.
Because of that. That's what they call it.
Oh,
when
I
we were
called
kids.
it a layer. And here,
that's what I called it in this
up.
too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Back in the Lost Boys layer.
Yeah. And it's just what the fuck? It is.
It's the only thing. It's the only way you can describe it. Because no one else even goes in there. They've just made it a home. When in reality, there'd be people hanging at the beach who've walked down there and be like, "Oh, cool. What is this?" Their victims would just come in all the time.
Yeah. Well, but
they probably have 3 to 8 people at minimum a week walking through that shit.
Probably, and that's how they keep feeding themselves.
Totally.
But there's a lot of layers in movies and teenagers and stuff like that. I would just wish at that time I wish we could have had a layer. I wanted a clubhouse so bad.
LAIR.
It's layer, not layer.
Layer.
It's layer.
Layer.
LAIR.
Yeah.
Not
Holy
LAYER.
You know what? I'm gonna call it a fucking cake layer from here on out, just because don't fucking correct me.
Why? You're doing it on purpose. You're setting us up to correct you.
No. I was just saying it.
You were just there was a lot of layers. And I was
you even said it. You went layer. You didn't even say it casually. You were like, there's a lot of layers. Layers. So they walk in there, and it's fucking pretty sick, actually. The whole place. David goes, "Not bad, huh? You'll like it here, Michael. When I was a kid, I didn't understand why he was saying appetizer.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize. I was like, oh, he's just handing him a cigarette or something.
Yeah.
I didn't know that he was handing him a joint. It wasn't until I was in my probably my 20s.
That'll
or
get your appetite
late
going.
teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
Late teenager that I was like, oh, he's handing him a joint. That's what he means by appetizer. And then Sam's in his bed reading the vampire comic, and he gets startled when Lucy comes in. She's 10 o'clock, lights out, blah, blah, blah. There's a closet monster thing. And
well, did you see what is on his closet? Fucking Rob Lowe.
But yeah,
Nice.
there's actually some pretty funny dialogue. Or not funny, it's heartwarming.
Yeah, because the mom's like, I divorced your dad because he didn't believe in the closet monster.
Yeah.
She's like, I can never sleep with the closet door open either. Not even a crack. Sam, this is a terrible thing to admit, but I think that one of the reasons I divorced your father was because he never believed in the closet monster. And Grandpa walks in and goes, whoa.
Yeah, totally.
Dad, don't sneak up on people like that. And Grandpa goes, brought you something to dress up your room, Miss Sam. How do you like that? And he sets a stuffed beaver on Sam's nightstand.
Yeah.
Thanks, Grandpa. Lots more where he come from. Night, Sam.
Well, and so
he loves just giving his kid taxidermy.
Yeah, he's going to bed. He's already walked out of the room. Lucy's What did she say? She says, "Okay, night, honey," and then she pats the beaver on the head and smiles at Sam, and then walks out. And then he's like trying to read his comic book, and he keeps looking over at the beaver.
Yeah, he's creeping him out. He can't handle it.
And he gets up and he picks him up. And he goes, "Your history, buddy," and he takes him and puts him in the closet.
Yep.
And then as he's closing his closet door, we see this giant poster of Rob Lowe, like with his fucking midriff showing and shit. It's like super sexual.
Yeah.
There's actually some trivia about that. Sam has a poster of Rob Lowe on his closet door. The poster has sparked years of debate about whether or not Schumacher, as an openly gay man, was making a subtextual statement about Sam's sexuality
Lucy's childhood
by putting
bedroom.
a picture of a male heartthrob on his closet, a reference to being in the closet. Schumacher also has Sam wearing an ear stud, riding a pink bicycle, and actually it's red, being more fashion conscious than any other character. On the DVD commentary, Joel Schumacher says that he chose Rob Lowe as the pinup because he had recently directed Lowe in St. Elmo's Fire.
Yeah.
But I think that was just Schumacher putting a little nod in there to like
in the closet though.
Maybe making you
that's a little
maybe
bit
making
too
you
much.
like question Sam's sexuality a little bit.
Yeah, I think maybe.
He
doesn't have an opinion on Star. I don't know.
Well, I mean, later on, never mind.
Yeah, right here we're back in the lair. So we're panning
are.
back to like what's going on right now in the lair.
They're back on the layer.
Marco walks in with a box full of Chinese takeout.
So that I've always wondered this is that David fucking with his head with his like vampire power or what?
I think it's part
or
of
is
the
it like is he hot?
He's tricking him because it's initiation.
Okay. So
yeah, and he can't do that. He has the ability to do that because I think he did a little bit of that with Star when he was like Star, and she just came and got on his bike.
Okay.
I think eating the worms
also
and
him,
stuff are part of it.
And the weed that he gave him.
That's
Who
what I was wondering.
knows?
It's like it was
like
supposed
what
to be
was
like
in
the
that weed?
Yeah, type of thing. Like maybe it was dusted with something.
Vampire blood.
Yeah, but they're like
blood.
mocking him when he's like they're worms, and Star's like that's enough, and they're like chill out, girl. And then David motions to Marco, and like he comes over and he whispers, he goes,
yeah.
And then Marco walks up, and the bottle of wine is like this ancient-looking fancy bottle with some sort of red wine.
Or gaudy as all hell.
David takes it looks like ancient. Like it looks like something from the pirate ship in the Goonies.
Looks like something my aunt made.
Looks like the wine bottle that contains the blood of a vampire.
Yeah, it's like thousands of years old. I don't know how your aunt can make that.
It just looks like something like
you could buy it at Hobby Lobby.
But then,
for
like,
sure.
It looks someone's like bedazzled or something.
He takes the bottle, opens it up, takes a drink, and like reacts like it's super strong. And then he looks at Michael seductively and he goes, "Give me a ride, Marco." And Marco pushes David's chair around.
Yeah. Well, and
yeah, because he takes the drink and they're all pumped. All of them are celebrating. They're all the vampires. They're fucking in it.
And then Paul even goes, "You're one of us, bud. Let the good times roll." And then he continues to drink more from the bottle. They're all dancing around him. And there's that giant image of Jim Morrison on the wall or in the background. And they like put Michael over it. And it's like, dude, he fucking looks like Jim Morrison. This character looks like Jim Morrison.
He kind of does.
Jason Patrick.
Yeah, Jason Patrick. And then they're at the railroad bridge. They roll up to the railroad bridge.
There's a lot of fog in Santa Clara. Carla.
Yeah, there is.
There's a lot of fog.
Yeah.
So this is what fucking Will Wheaton and Jerry O'Connell should have done.
Jerry O'Connell's character could not do a pull-up to get back up. He would have had to drop. And he's not a vampire.
That's true.
That's a good point, Jason.
That is a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Good call.
We can smell our own. Just joking. There was a time. But with these guys, it doesn't matter if they drop, which, as they're all, this is like their thing. He drank the blood. This is kind of where the party is culminating to this train bridge. And when they all drop and hang there, at first Michael thinks they're all committing suicide. Like, what the fuck are they doing? If your friends all jump from a bridge, would you? He's hearing these voices in his head probably. And then he looks down and sees that they're hanging there by some like rebar or some bullshit. And he's like, oh. And he like casually kind of gets down there. He doesn't drop like they do. But then as he watches them all drop, as the train goes over and they all like end up dropping into the fog, he's like, "Oh no, they're dead!"
Yeah,
he has no reason to think they're not dead because he
can still hear. He can hear them still yelling for him though.
Not until the train passes. Yeah, all of a sudden he's like, "What the fuck?" And they're like, "That's when he does hear David's voice, like Michael, let go." Like
they're all yelling at him. Yeah, he's like, "Michael," and he's like, "Michael Emerson, come on down." So anyway, that's gnarly. And then he just like can't pull himself back up. He's so weak because he's been hanging for so long.
You're one of us. Let go. You're one of us, Michael.
And then he goes,
And he's not ready to believe it.
And then he
just
forgets to scream for a
drops
minute.
screaming into he drops into the fog, and he's like, "What the fuck?"
And he slows to like a float.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we don't necessarily see him like fly. We don't necessarily see what happens because that's the end of scene.
Yeah, we basically ends with him landing in slow motion on his bed. In his room.
That's the end of scene 1.
Santa. The next afternoon, Michael is woken up by Sam. Their mom is on the phone and would like Michael to stay home with Sam tonight so she can go out on a date with her boss from the video store, Max. That evening, Grandpa prepares for his date with the widow Johnson and leaves.
Windex aftershave.
Try some Windex, Grandpa. Meanwhile, Michael begins to transform. His eyes have become sensitive to sunlight, smell of food revolts him, and his reflection becomes translucent. He develops a craving for blood and attempts to attack Sam in the bathtub, but is stopped by Sam's dog, Nanook. Sam is terrified.
You're a vampire, Michael. My own brother, a goddamn shit-sucking vampire. You wait till Mom finds out, buddy.
He locks himself in his room and calls the Frog Brothers for help. Then Lucy calls home to check on the boys and is disturbed by what she hears on the phone. She cuts her date short and rushes home. Meanwhile, Michael convinces Sam that he is not yet a vampire and needs his help. By the time Lucy gets home, Sam and Michael hatched a plan to downplay the events of the phone call. Sam deduces from his new horror comics that as Michael has not yet killed anyone, he is a half vampire and his condition is reversible upon the head vampire's death.
Those vampire comics sure are informative.
They really are.
Michael sneaks out to avoid his mom and grandpa and heads to the vampire lair for answers. Star is the only one there and they have sex.
All right.
The next morning, Lucy and Sam head to Max's house so she can apologize for ditching their date, but she is nearly killed by Max's hellhound, Thorn. Sam and the Frog Brothers suspect Max of being the head vampire, but while Max is over at Sam's house for dinner with Lucy that evening, Max passes all their vampire tests.
I bet you hate garlic, don't you?
No, I like garlic. It's just a little much for all garlic. That night, David tries to provoke Michael into killing some people on a remote beach, but Michael repeatedly refuses. Later that night, Star and Laddie show up at Grandpa's house and reveal that she and Laddie are also still partly human, and that David intended for Michael to be Star's first kill, sealing her fate as a vampire.
So it's not too late.
Sam calls the Frog Brothers for reinforcements. Michael and the boys then steal Grandpa's prized classic car and drive to the gang's lair during the day while they are asleep. Michael rescues Star and Laddie while Sam and the Frog Brothers find the rest of the gang in the back of the lair. They impale one vampire, Marco, with a wooden stake, killing him but awakening the others. The boys barely escape into the sunlight.
That did not go well.
They join Michael, Star, and Laddie in the car and burn rubber out of there.
Oh, man.
So,
a lot happened in that one.
That was a heavy scene.
So the transition, before we get to what you're saying, I don't mean to step on your dick, but the transition from scene 1 to this
that's
one.
where I'm at, yeah.
Yeah. You know, we saw Michael floating in slow motion down to his bed.
Yeah, because my notes were like, was that real? Like,
it's still in slow motion when Sam starts to walk into Michael's room and open the blinds.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And then it catches up to regular speed.
Yep.
Very, very cool the way they do that.
Yeah, that was a cool little transition that they did there.
It's almost like did that moment happen? Like, did he was he dreaming? Like, they kind of put that mystery in because as this fresh watch, I kind of did not remember the train bridge falling, cutting to him like kind of landing in his bed, and I'm like, okay, so how did he get home?
Bless you.
Floated home. Yeah. I love the dialogue here.
The fact that he's still in bed.
Yeah.
Because what time is it? It's like
2:00.
2 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
That's unusual for Michael.
But I mean, is it though? For like, what is he? 19, 20?
I know we did that back then.
Yeah.
But she's just like, what the fuck? He's like, no, I'm up. And then that's where she like, Michael, would you do me a favor? Max asked.
That's a
tough.
hard one.
Max asked.
He asked me a question.
Max proposed a date for the tonight.
Max asks me a question, and he wants to know if I will go on a date with him after work tonight. So you need to stay home with Sam.
Okay, so
that's what Lucy said. She actually sounded like that.
Yeah, it sounded
was
exactly
very
like that. Diane
strange
Weiss.
change of dialogue there, but that's where he's like, he's old enough to stay home by himself because he wants to go out and get some more
Yeah,
some starfish. He hasn't had enough because he hasn't had any yet.
And then we're back. We're basically back in the kitchen, and it's the next night.
Okay,
where Lucy's gone out for her date already. Grandpa is getting ready for his date.
God,
well, dude, some of the dialogue in this I'm not a fan of, but
that's great.
Dynasty. Anyways, when Sam gets pissed at Michael for asking him what he stuffed, the old man, whatever,
her husband,
Her
Mr.
husband?
Johnson.
Yeah, like why was it like it was a joke? Like that one little exchange rubbed me the wrong way with Corey Haim. I'm just like, what the fuck, dude? Relax. It was just a joke.
I thought it was funny.
Well, no, I like exactly. It's like I thought it
Absolutely.
was funny. I thought
It
what
was.
Michael said was funny, but then Corey Haim looks at like him like Grandpa, like you just hurt Grandpa's feelings. Like,
Yeah, he can't believe he said that. Basically, he's like saying, "Did you kill her husband?"
yeah, fuck, it's a joke, man.
And then so after that exchange, headlights start beaming inside the house. Motorcycle engines rev. The wind starts to blow violently. And then they kind of just are like weird.
Yeah,
Yeah, we hear their motorcycles and
Yeah,
shit.
And there's
and
a
he's-
lot of fucking wind. Those are some intense motorcycles, man.
Yeah, it's the motorcycles making the wind for sure.
Yeah,
Yep, it has to be.
big exhausts.
So and he's like, Sam, go take your bath. And then Michael's like walking, and Sam's upstairs taking his bath, and Michael's like walking around the house in the dark. He's like in deep thought, pondering. He goes to drink some milk from the fridge, but his stomach starts to hurt, and he drops the milk carton and drops to his knees.
He needs some.
And then there's Sam's bath scene. Well,
the fuck is that scene?
that bath scene?
Yeah, what the fuck?
What do you mean? It's
He's
great.
built
14
tension.
years old, man.
He's
gonna
like-
be in a fucking bubble bath.
They do kind of infantilize him.
You're 14 years old.
At one point during the bath, Sam he's singing along to
Yes.
I ain't got a man.
Yep.
I ain't got, and he stops singing and he looks down at the floor over the edge of the tub to Nanook, and Nanook's just laying there, and he goes like this to him. He just makes this face. He goes to
Yeah.
check that he's still there,
Yeah.
and I feel like that's really genuine and wholesome the way he just checks on his buddy that's sitting
Oh
right
yeah.
Yeah.
there. And then Sam singing in falsetto is pretty good.
Yeah.
I
You're like,
got a man.
like it's funny. It kind of like breaks up that tension
Yeah.
because we see that Michael's downstairs, like kind of losing it, like
Yeah.
as Strat was saying.
He's like, what the fuck? Yeah.
So then when Sam dunks his head under the bathwater,
And that's
he can't hear what's going on.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, Michael busts in like he's gonna
he's gonna
eat him.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, Nanook can
Nanook-
sense him coming even
Yeah.
before he gets to the door.
Huskies are great protectors. So having this Malamute protect
Yeah,
Sam?
he knows nothing but to protect Sam
yeah.
right there.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just
that's his like
I will fuck you up if you
My-
come near my dude.
Paisley.
Yeah.
Paisley will sleep out on Gavin's landing, so a lot of times, and just protect him. So
Like no one's getting by me.
no,
Yeah.
yeah,
And then they stand up in front of the mirror, and Michael's reflection is like half faded.
yeah,
Yeah.
Look at your reflection in the mirror, Michael. You're a creature of the night, Michael. Just like out of a comic book. You're a vampire, Michael. My own brother, a goddamn shit-sucking vampire. Oh, you wait till Mom finds out, buddy.
That shit is so funny.
Wait,
That's
That's
like
one of my favorite lines in the movie.
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
A goddamn shit-sucking vampire.
And now he's gonna tell mom.
yeah.
He's gonna tell.
Um,
Michael goes down and he goes into his own room and lays on his bed. Sam calls the Frog Brothers, and Edgar picks up.
yeah.
I love the dialogue when the Frog Brothers are on screen.
Oh yeah, they're the comic relief. They're fun.
they're the fun part of this.
And then Mike is like floating up out of his bed, and that's where we're at.
So like I loved the scene with him just kind of like him floating and being woken up by running into the ceiling.
Yeah.
And then the camera work of him going being on the ceiling trying to crawl like
And
you know
they're
the,
facing up to him.
yeah
And
yeah
he turns himself over and shit.
yeah
It's super cool.
which is like he is literally just turned the
Yeah.
room upside down.
Yeah.
But and then the camera work with him trying to crawl out of the window was fucking great.
Yeah.
Like just the way all of this part was shot, it just kept me very, very interested. And it was funny at the same time because that conversation that's going on with his mom at the time, whenever he calls the restaurant and whatever, and Mike's outside and he just sees his feet floating there.
Yeah.
Like you're
It's
like,
all
what the
believable. Like it's
Yeah, so
it was-
because he's just holding on to the phone cord.
and then she goes to like call to check on the boys. And Sam's just sitting on his bed and he's like holding the phone, and then it rings and it hasn't even rung a full time and he picks it up. He's like, Mom, we got to have a real long talk about something. And he starts to like freak out, and then he sees Michael and he starts screaming. He's floating outside of his window. And so then Lucy gets scared.
Oh my God.
Oh
and
man.
and then he's like, Mom, we should stay calm. She's like, calm about what? Who's making that noise? And it's Michael's like yelling for his life. He's like,
Yeah.
She's like, honey, I'm coming.
And then she leaves the restaurant.
She freaks out and just bolts, and Max just sees her running and getting into the car.
Yeah.
Well, so it comes back with him drinking that very nice wine, and he's enjoying it. Oh.
And then, it's back to Michael and Sam, and he's like, open up. He's like, stay back. He's like, Sammy, help me. Open up. Please open the window. He's like, never. I knew it. He goes, I'm not. He goes, so what are you? The Flying Nun?
I thought that shit was funny.
I did like that. But
and then he's like, I'm your brother, Sammy, help me. And so he convinces Sam to let him in.
because his brother.
He's like, we got to stick together. Right?
Yeah. Well, we're buddies. See that did you see the wall clock? The wall
I noticed
watch
it
clock?
earlier in the movie, but I don't know what you're going to say about it.
I had that same one, or one very much like that as a kid, and that
it
was
looked
my
like a
favorite.
big watch.
Yes,
I remember seeing those in movies, but I never.
I had one in
of
my
those.
room too as a kid.
Mine was a Swatch.
Nice.
It was a Swatch knockoff thing or whatever. It could have been like a Smotch or something like that. I don't know. But
Swatches make me think of Parker Lewis Can't Lose.
Yes.
Like when he lets Michael in, he hangs up the phone, and I'm your brother. He lets him in.
And then she gets home. She's like,
flies home.
You hear the front door, and you hear her like, Sam.
Dude, her cute little voice. But then he comes down in his Parker Lewis Can't Lose bathrobe.
He's just like, hey, I was just reading a horror comic, and I thought I saw something, and I just got a little scared. But that's the whole thing. Is like, you were like reacting for a solid 2-3 minutes of like panic. This isn't something out of the corner of your eye. It's just so funny how you try to explain it away.
Cheaper.
I love her reaction because he's like, I guess I got carried away. She's like, you got carried away by a comic book?
Yeah.
Like her
It was a
delivery
scary
of this
comic,
line.
Mom.
Yeah, her
Sorry.
delivery of that line is perfect.
Yeah.
The facial expressions, her voice, the way her voice gets higher.
And she's like, you ruined this date. Like, that's what she's like, I cannot believe this. Like, she's just, she cannot.
She goes into the kitchen and she sees she's like, what is this? You spill milk all over the floor? You don't even bother to clean it up? And then she sets the milk carton on the counter and it's got Laddie's missing thing on it.
Yeah. Well, they used to have missing shit on the side of milk cartons.
Yeah.
It was a thing in the 80s.
Yeah, you remember that? Like,
Yeah, we'd say that to
it.
it. You're going to end up on a
Yeah.
Step on your dick.
Yeah, you're
there.
fine.
I
But
stomped on that
you
shit.
stomped on that shit. But so that's what I was wondering. So like, how long have Star and Laddie been?
I would say
vampies?
fairly recent, within the past few months.
Okay, so then
They're 3 to 6 months missing, probably.
But
then again, Laddie was just at the fucking boardwalk the other day.
Yeah.
Well, but
he's missing from Santa Carla. Sure, someone would be like, "Hey, there's that missing boy." He does have a distinct look.
He does.
That's the ladder rung.
If,
I didn't
if you
notice
pay
till right
attention
now.
to the milk carton, you're going to go, I saw that kid at the boardwalk, but he might be from somewhere else. We don't know that.
Well, but so how long have Kiefer Sutherland and all of them been? Do you think?
There's no way to even try to guess.
There's no way to guess.
Okay.
Yeah, then Sam's asking his mom if he can spend the night. Have you been eating pizza? That funny garlic scene, you know.
Ooh, you smell like garlic.
Yeah.
And then we're at Max's, and Max is like walking up to his own front door.
And it's like creepy. The wind's coming.
He hears these weird noises, and it's like windy. And then he sees
Thorne,
is that you making all that noise? And then he gets rolled up on by the motorcycle noises, and the wind and shit and the lights. So
and he gets hit with a bat kite.
Yeah, and then the bat kite flies into him.
But they lead us to believe that Max got in that scene.
Yeah.
So, but it's one of those things that just left hanging. Like all of a sudden, shit's going on, and then cut.
I don't know if they. I mean, because those guys have rolled up on the other guys earlier.
They're
I don't feel like
reminiscent of the hating cars scenes from earlier. You know, the wind starts out, and all of a sudden these guys show up, and they just made it seem like somebody's at Max's, and the scene cuts before there's a resolution. So you're left to wonder, like, what happened with Max? Because it cuts to Michael now, desperate, showing up at the lair
with a torch. Have you guys ever used a torch? Would you know how to use a torch?
No. That's how they light the barrels.
I understand that, but like he just has a torch. Like I've never.
I think the
used
torch
a
was probably in there.
Okay, I just like
He's not like carrying a torch around. He picks it up on the way in.
Again, like dirt bikes, layers, and torches. These are all things that people just used, I guess, in the 80s more than we do now.
Well, when you're a vampire, you kind of do that shit.
Okay.
Vampires love that shit.
All right. Ambiance.
Yeah, he goes in and he's like, it doesn't seem like anybody's there. He picks up the wine bottle and it's empty and he throws it away. And then Star is like, hey, I'm here. And he's like, what's happened to me? And she's like, I don't know how to
He
tell
looks
you.
panicked, and
then they fuck.
yeah.
And
Do you think he knew he was about to get laid? He kind of came in there wanting answers.
that
He's like, I'll take
scene-
this.
Yeah.
that, for not showing a ton, that's a pretty hot scene. The
It is.
music, which is Cry Little Sister again, the candles, the whole vibe of it, it's pretty hot.
But then this my favorite shot of the movie comes in, where it's the fly-in.
Yeah, they're coming home.
They fly in, and even though like it's a cut shot, it kind of makes
It never
it feel like
shows them arrive. It's implied they
Yeah,
come back.
and they're like hooting and hollering and like,
Yep.
yelling and
but like it's almost a continuous shot from the outside into the cave, into there, and then it goes over to Michael and Star. Like I thought that was such a cool way of doing it.
Yeah, they
so
stitched together a few of those.
Yeah.
In the
It was
shadows.
really
spots.
well
and
done.
the noise they make yelling and stuff wakes Michael up, and he like looks at his hand. It's got that bandage on it. When he takes the bandage off, and his hand is
Totally
healed.
healed. So these are the good sides of being a vampire. Just lay around and bone Star all
And
day.
the next thing is we're on the porch at the house.
But
yeah, because he arrives home and his mom's just like, she would not suspect him of being a vampire. She'd be like, oh, he's fucking wasted.
He is on drugs.
He has to go and sleep this off. But you're gonna have to let him go. If she thinks he's wasted, just let him go sleep it off. Talk about it when he wakes up.
But he comes inside.
Yeah, he did.
And
Star. Yeah, that happened. I'm sure he did.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was not.
We can assume. Star comes across as kind of
We
like
picked up on it right away.
Yeah.
So Mike walks in, and Sam and Grandpa are in the kitchen. And Grandpa goes, looks like I wasn't the only one got lucky last night, huh? And
He's
then
right.
laughs.
Yeah.
Did you take care of everything, Michael? As Sam says. And then what is up with Sam's pajamas?
God.
They have these weird, like, almost cut off sleeves, but they go down a little bit. And they've got, like,
It's like they're trying to make him like 9 years old, but sometimes. But at the comic book shop, he is 14. But when he's like at home, he's like 10.
Yeah, and he's in a bathtub. It's weird, man. But there's the 80s, man. They just have weird fucking clothes in the 80s. They sucked.
Well, so after he asked Mike, "Did you take care of everything?" He kind of gives him like a look and walks away. Like basically, he's kind of saying like, not quite.
No, I didn't.
I'm not quite there yet.
He's like, no, but
because you
I
can see
did.
that Sam looks a little bit nervous, and then it cuts to Max's incredible fucking house, where like Sam and Lucy are heading there because she wants to apologize for running out on the date.
Yeah,
so she's gonna drop off a bottle of wine. And again, it's just that like entry with like kind of the bridge over this cliffside. There's just something like almost magical about this.
Fucking love that
lot
place.
of land.
Love
but
that
to hear that an earthquake took it, that is fucking terrifying.
I hate it
because you wouldn't want to be there when an
No.
earthquake hit, and to find out that now an earthquake took that house, you're like, oh my god.
And you were
It's awful.
probably at home pooping while that happened.
But yeah, so she gets up closer to the door, and Thorne is there.
Yep, and he's acting like a goddamn hellhound.
He freaks out and goes after her.
Yeah.
And almost gets her. They get in the car and leave. And then...
Well, did you notice that Sam was reading a book in the comic book about hounds from hell at the time that his mother's outside dealing with Thorne?
Yep.
That fucking comic book.
That was a
Hounds of
little
Hell.
bit right on the nose, though.
And then, so all of a sudden, it pans. The next shot is him walking into they're opening the comic book store. They're like opening and taking the table out. And he's like...
Yeah. Like, I mean, he's pretty perceptive. You know, like, hey, this all started when Max came in. So, I mean, good theory to run on.
To me, that was a jump in logic. Like, what?
No, because he was reading the Hounds from Hell part when that's happened, that his brain would have automatically made the connection.
Hound of Hell protecting the guy.
So,
yeah.
Well,
He just came from there, and that's probably what made him be like, wait a minute. What if it's Max and everything's lining up?
But no, so he goes, this all happens when my mom started working at the video store. She started working at the video store like day 2. They got their day 1.
Yeah, so he's
100%.
thinking back on, like, reflecting on how this has all gone
You
down.
could have just said that all of this happened as soon as we got to Santa Clara. Like, because that's literally the entire time. All 3 days that they've been here has been with her
But the
and
fact
Max.
that they're focused on his family.
He's never...
But what does that have to do with anything? The
You're
dog.
not letting me talk! Okay, that I think it's dumb. You can sit here and tell me everything.
I think you want to think it's dumb.
I do think
which
it's
is the
dumb.
difference.
I think it's dumb.
I think you chose to think it's dumb.
Of course I chose to think it's dumb.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's
you
dumb.
You can think it's dumb. That's
I
fine.
think it's fucking
That's okay.
dumb.
That's
I know.
all right.
And 100% of the listeners agree with Shout and I. So this is where they go back.
Michael is getting ready.
Yep,
Michael's getting ready in his room
at.
by candlelight. He zips up his leather jacket, puts the candle out with his fingers, and he starts to walk out of the room. Sam is like spying on him from his room and like through the crack in the door.
Yes.
Michael. And then he's like, Sam. And he shuts the door.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sam like is like still because this goes back to that look. Like, did you take care of it?
Yeah.
He like kind of knows he's like still half vampire. And he's like, don't fucking talk to me until you do. He's kind of being shitty with him.
Yeah. And so then they pan to the kitchen. Lucy's cooking. Grandpa walks in. Hey, smells good. When do we eat?
I love that. That's one of my favorite parts.
That's so good. Grandpa's one of the best characters in this.
He's great. He's like, I don't want somebody else in my fucking house.
Yeah.
Well, and then this little insignificant thing where Michael just comes down the stairs to say bye. He can't eat with everyone.
Yeah,
He's
she's
gonna
like,
go
Max,
out.
Max is coming for dinner. I want you to meet him.
Just-
I have plans.
Well, yeah, but it's just insignificant that he would walk by at that time and then he be the one to answer the door for Max.
Mm-hmm.
And Max is to deliver the line, you're the man of the house. Fuck no, he is not the man of the house. That's
Grandpa's
never
fucking
addressed.
house.
Yeah, this is Grandpa's house. He's alive. He's right the fuck there. So
Well,
all that shit
here's the
shouldn't
thing.
have counted when he invites him in.
No, here's the thing where that.
Now I'm on Andy with this one.
No. He's not the man of the house. But it doesn't have to be the man of the house to invite the vampire in. Somebody just has to invite them. It doesn't
I guess
matter.
that makes sense.
It could have been Nanook asking
But
him
he
to come
does
in.
say, well, you're the man of the house, and I'm not coming in until you invite me, which I see what you mean. That to me, it just almost set up the belief that the man of the house has to invite him in. It's like a technicality, but I guess it's true.
I think he's just trying
Anybody
to be.
has to be in.
He's trying to
invite
show
him in.
class to Michael.
Yeah.
He knows he has to be invited in, and that's just his way of getting Michael to invite him in. Like, hey, respect to you. I'm coming here to see your mom, but you're the man of the house, so I'm not coming in until you invite me.
Grandpa's in that taxidermy room, and he's like sees him through he has the pocket doors open, just like a little slit, and he's like looking. He's like, nuh-uh, and he just closes them and stays in there. And so that goes back to that deleted scene when he was just like, yeah, I've seen him around, and kind of acted weird. It's like, what does Grandpa know?
Like, why didn't, if he knew?
No, but we don't know. We just
maybe
he's
he
just
saw Hellhound, and so he's like, that's the guy.
He just kind of thinks like
that would make sense.
No, it wouldn't.
I think he is suspicious of him, probably because of the Hellhound. You know, like any natural human would be in this world.
I'm gonna punch both of you in the face.
But he lets Max in, and Max just like is like, okay. And he goes in and he catches up with Lucy walking through with like the bread, and he's like, "Is it okay for the guests to see the food before the dinner?" And she's like, "Oh, you're thinking of the groom not seeing the bride before the wedding." He's like, "Oh yeah, I always get those confused." So
Thorne sends his apologies.
later,
because
we're
of the
gonna find out
flowers.
that he's got marriage on his mind, right?
Yeah, I think you could argue that. Yeah.
So
this
it's
is just
Max
like,
and Lucy, Sam and the Frog Brothers at the dinner
what
table.
an interesting dinner. So fun.
And
I feel like they could have had so much more fun with this scene, but it's pretty fun.
I think because like they're like, boy, she goes, boy, somebody around here has bad breath, and they all look at Max.
All look at him,
and he's
yeah.
like, and then it's Nanook.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then
Nanook, would you quit breathing on me?
He's like, get upstairs, go on. Hey, Max, you want some Parmesan cheese on that?
Yes,
Sam, thank you very much. She's like, Sam grated the cheese himself. My son, budding chef in the family. And then he starts to eat it.
It just puts so much on there, and they're all like, watching him, like, oh, yeah.
It's not cheese. It's garlic.
You would know.
I bet you hate garlic, don't you?
That when Sam goes, I bet you hate garlic, don't you?
No,
Like,
I
so
like
excited.
garlic. It's just a little much. It's raw garlic.
Yeah.
Quick, drink some water.
He goes, guys, he likes garlic. Here, quick, drink some. Yeah. And then he fucking throws the water on him, which he doesn't know is I think it's supposed to be holy water.
I think it is.
But we don't see them get
we
it.
never did. You're correct.
We do later for
We
some
do
other
later,
water.
but I think it's from the Frog
And it's
Brothers.
because she's like, Sam, what's the matter with you? And he goes, does it burn? So that tells us. it
Burn?
has
Are
to
you
be.
nuts? It's freezing. Must be
Oh.
a circuit breaker, Mom. And Alan goes, he's
when
not glowing.
The lights go off. Yeah, he's not glowing. They always thinking, I know, hit the light.
And he turned it back on, and the mirror's in front of him, and he sees it, and he sees his reflection. And I feel like that reaction is genuine because he doesn't see himself in the mirror. He would never see himself in the mirror.
He wouldn't?
No,
Because
vampires don't have a reflection,
Right.
But he did.
But because they invited
him in.
invited him in. So
So he doesn't often
disqualifies
see
any-
himself.
yeah.
Okay.
So I think he was
That's what
really
I thought.
startled.
I think you're saying he didn't even in this moment, even though we did. I'm like, what? But I see what you're getting at. I actually like the way they crammed all of the vampire tests in the dinner. But
Real
it's just
quick,
like
too.
I could have used a little bit more, maybe a little bit. Just just for fun, but I'm not going to pick at it. It was a fun scene. Again, the Frog Brothers present in the scene is generally more fun than the others.
Well,
it's
so, like,
Haim and the Frog Brothers for sure.
I think they did that perfectly, like the time of it, just because like had they like done it for too much longer, it would have been going on for too long. But I do love like that was a great interaction scene. It was perfect.
Kind of lets them know again, like now that Max is like, he's borderline like in no condition to continue on with their date. He's like covered in water, all this bullshit, and the kids have made it so awkward that he just considers it another failure.
Yeah,
and
our batting average isn't terrific. Is it 0 for 2?
Yep. And then as she's walking him to the door, and when they kiss goodnight, we see that's when Grandpa is watching again.
Yeah.
And then it does cut to the boardwalk.
Yeah.
Michael goes up to David. Where is she? Take it easy, Michael. Where's Star, David? Yes. If you ever want to see Star again, you better come with us now. I love the way he says, "Where's Star, David?"
Yeah, he's like he's a half vampire, and he's got a little anger streak. It's kind of in him. Well, because he hasn't actually fed yet, but it's like instincts are telling him to, but he's fighting it. So yeah, he's talking.
Yeah, I think he's got 100 reasons to be angry.
Yeah, he's just wants his girlfriend because he wants to walk again. That's
then
he's into.
He wants to get that.
They go to like a bonfire,
a remote part of the beach where there's some people partying.
Yep, they got a big bonfire going, and they're kind of hiding in the trees.
No, I party, but they.
You can't party because I party.
I party.
We've discussed I party.
Run DMC and Aerosmith. Walk This Way.
That's what they're listening to?
Yeah,
I actually forgot.
Yeah, because one of the surpunks goes, "Walk this way, talk this way." He's like mocking Steven. Steven. What's his name?
Tyler.
Yeah. So they go up and they're in the tree, and Michael's kind of still sitting on his bike, and he's like, "Michael, over here."
Dude, like I loved the face reveal, like the way it was coming out.
Yeah,
and
into the light like that.
Yeah, and then they all did it. And they didn't do this like the crappy like just little tiny things or whatever. Like they were present, they were there. It was like it's like it's essentially
their
the
bone structures change in their face a little bit. They're I think the coolest looking vampires.
They look fucking badass, and it's scary as shit.
Yeah, it's a pretty scary scene. And then you hear the seagull noise like I told you about earlier.
Yeah.
And then they descend upon these people and just brutally fucking like slaughter these people.
Yeah, and they think Mike's going to join him. Like his instincts are going to kick in. He's like, this is the night we get him to fully transform, become one of us.
Which you do see him turn. He turns into vampire form.
Yeah, his instincts are telling him to go out there and do it. And he's like, but he's fighting it.
Now, I don't know if you guys, I don't know what version you guys watched, but there are versions of this movie where this murder scene is shortened and less brutal. Did you see the real gory?
No, mine was short. Brutal.
Biting into their they bite into
they
skull people. They bite into their heads.
Yes,
they fucking,
blood squirts and all the craziness.
It's fucking brutal.
Well,
and so I loved it because like they're just going after these dudes. It's not doing the classic like I'm gonna bite you on the neck and like suck your blood.
Oh yeah, they throw them into the there's a pile of them in the fire afterwards. Like they're brutal.
They picked them all off, and Michael held out and didn't go, but he's falling out of the trees, just rolling around, and just you could tell he's really fighting.
And
he's
I'm convinced that's the rest of the surf Nazis.
They
don't tell us that.
There's like no chicks there either. It's just kind of just definitely a group of dudes.
I think those are the surf. I think
I bet
that's a theory.
Because the only surf Nazi that died was the dude with the amazing frosted tips.
Yeah, he's just missing.
Yeah, and then the girl. The rest of them were like they had a whole crew.
But this is where David finally says to Michael that freaking line that you were talking about from the poster.
They come back up over the hill, which is before he says anything, is fucking
that backlit
iconic.
scene.
Yeah,
they walk up over the hill after the feeding, and they're back in human form, but they're covered in blood. You see their full outfits, their hair. They look like the raddest fucking 80s hair metal band that never existed. The way they're standing, their pose. I mean, they look like they're taking a band photo.
Yeah.
And then he goes, so I got fucking goosebumps. When they come over the hill and the bonfire lights behind them, and like, dude, they look so fucking rad.
Yeah, that scene is like a pivotal scene, especially for Michael's character.
Yeah.
The fact that he almost gave in. But he like held strong and didn't for another night. But it's getting tougher and tougher for him. So then it cuts back to Sam in his room.
Yeah, and it's dark, and you're on edge because of the scene.
And he has a sleep mask on. He like wakes up and he removes it, and sure enough, a big old stuffed owl in his bed. He's like, ah! He's like, did you? Scares the shit out of him.
It's like Grandpa came in while he was sleeping and sat down on his nightstand.
Yeah, well, so
and Grandpa surely has to notice. Where's the one I brought last night? It's not in here. But
I wish Grandpa would stop giving me these stupid things.
He brings it over to the closet. It's full.
Full of them. There's
that's
what I thought.
Yeah, we only see a couple of them. He's done it like 20 times already.
They're just filled with those
Grandpa
things.
just has to know that it's pissing him off because he comes in to put the next one out. It's not like he's decorating the room. He's shoving them in the closet. It's great.
No, so like I think that's like part of Grandpa's humor is like, well, fuck it. I'm just gonna keep bringing him. To him.
And Grandpa has he's mastered the art of like sneaking up.
Yeah.
So he's coming in there during Sam sleeping, and Sam's not even hearing him.
Yeah.
And he leaves. And Grandpa's like in the hallway afterwards going.
And that's kind of like
that's what I'm imagining the whole time. I'm glad you're all on the same page as me with that.
It's kind of the wannabe jump scare though here because we're all directed to the closet, counting the look at all that text, and he shuts the door, and all of a sudden his brother is standing in this room.
Yeah. Well, and then this is my favorite line coming up.
He's weak, so at this point he might be there to get Sam.
Yeah.
He's just had a hard time fighting it off.
But who do we hear out in the window?
Yeah.
She does a Batman exit. She does a Batman exit. Just a poof.
And then Sam goes, "Don't kill anybody until we get back to you."
Yeah, because he's heard all this, and he's like, "Okay, they're all half vampires, so we can save them."
But and then
he's been reading these comics.
Who do they need to call?
He gets on the phone to call the Frog Brothers.
Connections.
Yeah. What are you doing? I got connections.
Yeah. So,
okay, where's Nosferatu when they actually do show up? Who? It cuts to them arriving. The Prince of Darkness,
the Nightcrawler, the Bloodsucker, El Vampiro. Mike, they're here. And then it's just like the guy. They're all in Grandpa's car,
right,
driving away as the top's coming down.
Yeah. Well,
what is he doing outside?
He's making spikes.
He's installing
he's building
a large
fence.
fence post with pointy.
Yeah, he's building
ends.
a fence, but they're pointy.
I just wonder if that'll play a role.
That may come handy later. But so they pull up to Hudson's Bluff in the car. They prepare to go down into the lair. And then Edgar goes, "Weapons check." This movie actually invented the phrase "vamp out,"
nice.
which they used in the TV series Buffy the Vampire Slayer quite a bit.
Oh, nice.
The late '90s with Sarah Michelle. What's her name?
And
Michael and the Frog Brothers enter Sam and Michael and the Frog Brothers.
Holy shit, Vampire Hotel.
Yeah.
And then they see Star sleeping on the bed, and they're like,
"Here's one. Come on, let's stake her, man."
Yeah, and Michael's like, "Don't touch her.
You stay away from her." Come on, vampires have some rotten tempers. The rest of them got to be around here someplace. We'll find them.
But
Michael's just picking Star and Laddie.
Yeah, he takes Laddie. Yeah, she's like, "Take Laddie first."
Yeah, she wants to keep sleeping a little bit longer.
But anyway, they go and they find he takes them up, and the guys go and they're crawling like into a tunnel.
Yeah.
The Frog Brothers and Alan goes, "Flies," and Edgar goes, "We're on the right trail. Flies and the undead go together like bullets and guns. Come on."
That's such a cheeseball line.
And then Sam goes, "What's that smell?" And Edgar goes, "Vampires, my friend. Vampires."
You see their like toes.
Yeah, they're hanging on by their toes and they're sleeping. And then that's when Sam's like, "I thought they were supposed to be in coffins." And Edgar goes, I love when David says that.
David like wakes up and says that because he says Marco and he's like freaking out. You know, they all are opening their eyes like screaming.
Yeah,
but it is daytime, so they're not like fully like energized, ready to kick so much ass.
Someone comes up and like punches you in the face while you're sleeping. You're like, "What the fuck?" And you try to run after him.
So as they try to make their way out, they only got the one. All the other ones are awake. They're fucked. They got to get out.
Coming after him. Like David's coming after him.
David almost gets him.
But then they pull him in. There's like sunlight because they're higher up in the cave.
Gets out to the edge, pull his arm into the sunlight. And
if he would have stopped posing for a second and just gone after them instead of going for 4 or 5 seconds every other shot
tonight,
he would have gone. He would have been able to get him.
But yeah, in that scene because they get him into the sunlight and it burns his hand, and he gets back and he's like, and he's turned to vampire, and you see the like tear coming down his face, and he goes, "The night."
Does vampire blood have glitter in it? Because they just look very glittery. The Frog Brothers, after being drenched in it.
I saw, and I didn't put it in here. I saw something about how they put glitter in the blood, in the green blood, to make it have a certain effect.
Yeah, it looked very glittery. Yeah. Like it looks like they just got done the strip club or something.
They probably did. That's the end of scene 3.
Yeah, the end of scene 3 is impossible because
the end of scene 2 is what I said. You heard 3,
and I agreed.
And it's going to sound like 3
when
you listen to the edit, but it's not.
Okay, scene 3.
Yeah,
Same
same
for
for
you.
you. Come on.
Realizing the gang will come after them that night, Sam fails to get his fed up and skeptical mother to help. She's going to try for a third time to have a successful date with Max tonight. On their own and desperate for a plan, the teens arm themselves with holy water-filled water guns, a longbow, a ton of garlic, and some wooden stakes. They get Grandpa out of the house and barricade themselves in, preparing the house like a McAllister on Christmas Eve.
This is it. Don't get scared now.
When night falls, David's gang attacks. The Frog Brothers, Sam, and Nanook take out 2 of the gang,
Death by stereo.
while Michael and David battle each other. After a long battle, David is impaled on Grandpa's taxidermy and killed.
Now Grandpa's taxidermy pays off. Wonder if those pointy fence posts he's installing will make more sense later.
But there is no change in Michael, Star, or Laddie, prompting the group to conclude that they still have not accounted for the head vampire.
It's got to be the saxophone guy, right?
Makes sense.
I still believe
that I'm a head vampire.
Lucy and Max return home from a date to find all the dead vampires. Max admits that he is the head vampire, and he had passed their test because Michael had invited him into the house that evening.
Way to go, Michael.
That was not some mundane detail, Michael.
Max also explains that he had instructed David to turn Sam and Michael into vampires so that Lucy could not refuse to be transformed, as his objective had been to make Lucy a mother to his lost boys the whole time.
And he would have gotten away with the 2 if it wasn't for these meddling kids.
As Max... Good one, Shaggy. As Max pulls Lucy to him, preparing to transform her, Grandpa crashes his truck through the wall of the house, impaling Max on a wooden fence post and causing him to explode.
Yep, fence post.
Knew it.
Yep.
Michael, Star, and Laddie then return to normal. When Lucy, Michael, and Sam go to see if Grandpa is all right, he takes a long drink of cold soda, which is root beer, and he replies, "One thing about living in Santa Carla I never could stomach. All the damn vampires." Credits roll! All right, so in the beginning of the scene, they're coming back into the house.
Yep.
Michael's carrying Star and, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And
Laddie, they're
Nanook's
bringing
freaking
them all
out.
in there. Yep.
Alan goes, "Your dog knows a flesh eater when he smells one."
Take him outside, Sam.
Come on, Nanook. And then Grandpa pops up and he goes, "Michael, you know the rule about filling up the car with gas when you take it without asking?"
No.
No, Grandpa.
Look at Michael's face right there where he's like...
He goes, "No, Grandpa." Well, now you do.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
fucking
that's
love
it.
Yes.
Like, I love that actor, Bernard, whatever his last name is. He was also in Doc Hollywood, and he fucking loved that movie. But
I haven't seen that movie in 35 years.
Oh, yeah.
I love that.
So, yeah, they go
Lake
upstairs.
scene.
Definitely blew plan A. We're going to have to activate,
time to activate plan B. Michael puts Star and Laddie on his bed, and then he just gets in the corner by his nightstand and starts to go to sleep. And then they're like, yeah, the sun will go down in a couple hours. They'll be looking for us.
Yeah.
And so then they venture out on their bikes, and
Sam goes to
the video store
to talk to his mom.
And she's like,
so she put her foot down, and he goes outside and delivers the bad news to everyone waiting on their bikes and shit. It's just like, we're on our own, guys.
Yeah.
And that's the way we like it.
This is my favorite scene.
When they interrupt the baptism.
Yeah, everybody just
to
look
get
at
some
him.
holy water.
And Corey Haim is just like,
oh, they're all staring at him.
And they're just like, and they just, all right.
And then as they're getting ready to leave, Alan just looks at all of them and he goes, and then they leave.
Like that, like to me, that like it was that and the closet scene that I loved about this movie. Like that just made me giggle so much.
Well, I think this was a risk because the next scene is they back home and he's like, "Grandpa, the widow Johnson called. She wants you to pick her up at 7 instead of 8, okay?
We got a date tonight?"
He wasn't even planning on leaving, which shows that he didn't have plans.
No.
So he just lied, but I'm sure when he showed up unexpectedly, the widow Johnson probably just was
Widow
ready.
Johnson's into it.
Yeah, she was ready to go.
She loves his all his taxidermy smells.
Well, I better get cleaned up then.
Well, I love his fucking magnifying glass.
Yeah,
over
it's
his
mounted
eye.
to his
It's so it's such an old man thing.
He's working
I
on his
fucking love it.
taxidermy.
I love it.
And then, they pan to his truck's pulling out and he honks the La Cucaracha horn. They start prepping the house. Sam is like pretending that he's like practicing shooting his bow and arrow and shit. And Edgar goes,
and that's
How
all of a
does
sudden the
he
wind
know?
picks up and we hear Nanook barking.
yeah.
Because
But
he's
that's
tied
when he's
up
like,
out back.
"Nanook, I left him outside."
Yeah,
Oh man, I actually got nervous.
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
Man, don't leave
'cause-
Nanook out there.
And he runs out there to get him. And then Edgar goes, "Sam, come back, no way." And Star goes, "Michael, they're coming."
yes.
She does that thing with her mouth
Yeah.
when she tightens her lips.
Yep.
and then
But they get Nanook.
but they take forever to.
Well, yeah, they build the suspense. They did, the tripping and falling, all the
Yeah.
shit.
It's like
And
Come
again,
on.
we never see them. It's just it's the camera, like from their perspective, like flying above them as they run inside. And then it comes right up to the shut door. And we're like, okay, I guess that was supposed to be them.
Well, so I think that they did this as kind of like a Jaws type of thing. Like, you barely see the shark and it makes it even scarier just to save money because it was done in 21 days. They just had those aerial shots done, which makes it so much cooler.
If they would have tried to show them flying, it would have looked awkward.
Dumb.
Oh,
it
it
would have
would've
looked
been
dumb.
awful.
I think what they did
I
here
think it was brilliant
was
that they
fucking
showed- yeah.
perfect.
Yeah. For this movie, they did it.
So anyway, they fly in and it pans to the door. Everybody's inside. And then all of a sudden, Dwayne comes crashing up through the fireplace.
Yep.
And then Paul appears behind the door, stopping Edgar and Alan as they're running. Paul goes, "Ah, ha, ha, you're mine. You killed Marco. Yeah, you're next. No, you're next." And then they look at the bathtub with the garlic, and he goes, "Garlic don't work, boys. Try holy water, death breath." And he squirts him with the gun, and it gets his fucking face all like Swiss cheese looking.
Yeah, they splashed him out of the
And then
tub.
fucking Nanook comes in and
Pudgy.
tackles him into the fucking bathtub.
What a good boy.
And
I put
it's
that.
so good. And then like after he gets down there and he starts to do that, do you notice Nanook goes, He like sighs at the end, and then Paul starts to
'Cause
deteriorate.
he's scared.
No, I don't think Nanook wasn't scared.
I think Nanook is like, man, I don't like what's going on. I don't like that I have to go and fuck
And then the
these
plumbing
vampires
through the
up.
house starts to explode and shoot blood.
That was a lot of blood. But
yeah,
going back, how did they get in?
I just told you.
One burst into
Dwayne
the
crashed
floor.
through
Like
the-
they weren't invited, so are they not allowed in? I thought like with vampires could not enter a house unless they were invited.
Just the head.
I'm guessing that if they're in vampire form, it don't matter.
And I also think it's just a rule for the head vampire, but also that rule just applies to then none of the vampire tricks work once they've been invited. in.
Okay.
So clearly these guys are getting hit with holy water and dying, so it all still
that
lines
makes
up.
a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Dwayne comes, he's flown in through the fireplace. He grabs Sam, flies him up to the ceiling. Sam shoots him in the face with the garlic holy water from his water gun.
Yep.
It causes him to drop
Drop
Sam,
him.
and then he falls. Sam gets his bow and arrow, shoots at Dwayne. As he flies at him, Sam walks closer to Dwayne, and he gets up. And he goes, "Ha ha ha, you missed, sucker. Only once, pal." And he takes another shot, hits Dwayne in the chest, throws him back into the stereo, and it
Yes.
electrocutes him, and it causes him to explode into pieces. And then after it's all done, that's when we get Sam goes, "Death by stereo."
But
Perfect.
so that's an arrow, not a stake. So is it just wood through the
It
heart?
was death by stereo.
No. Like because the
blew him up.
rule of
It
the
blew him
stake-
back into the thing and blew him up. I mean, I don't know. We're getting that. That's a ladder run.
Yeah, it went through his heart, and that
These
arrow
are-
is
these are the rules
technically
that were set on.
the arrow is technically a stake. It went through his
It's
heart.
not. It's an arrow.
It's the same.
No, it's not. An
Same
arrow.
sense.
Then they would just call stakes arrows or arrows stakes.
Well, no, an arrow is a stake. The point of the stake is that it's wood,
Okay, so it's just wood.
Right.
and
It
the
went through
arrow,
the heart is a
arrow
stake.
might have a metal head to it, but the
No, yeah, that's what I mean.
the
like-
stem is wood.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
through the
that
heart.
doesn't matter because it takes him back into the thing and it electrocutes him. It blows him up.
Yeah.
This is when we first see David in the house, and he like hangs down from like the top of the staircase.
Yeah.
And knocks Michael down, and he like
Yes.
starts he falls into the railway and breaks it all up. Michael gets up, and then David is like hitting Michael with cheap shots.
Yeah, he's like using his super vampire speed to just fly down and like punch him before he can react.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then it cuts away from that. Sam comes into one of the bedrooms. The Frog Brothers are hiding out, and they don't know who he is because it's dark. I love that line.
And
It's
then
so
of course
good.
Star bursts to the door and defends him like she's his mother
Mom,
or something.
Yeah. They're like, he's just a little boy, and he's like trying to pull away from her. He's like, "Ugh,
Yeah.
ugh."
Yeah,
I
now
thought
he's
that was
tough.
so cool. And he looks awesome as a little vampire.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we're back downstairs. David is like still getting cheap shots or Michael is still getting cheap shots from David.
Yeah.
And then he goes, "You afraid to face me, David? Huh? Come on. I tried to make you immortal. You tried to make me a killer." He takes another cheap shot, and then he finally appears in the rafters. And then Michael gets up, and he's turned. He's vampire now. He's like,
you are a killer.
You are a killer. And then Michael licks that. There's that blood running out of his nose, and he licks his lip and just like flies. They fly at each other.
Yep.
They go back and forth. They almost push each other onto like different like antlers and shit.
Kind of like that Big Trouble in Little China scene.
Yep.
Where they're flying around, fighting in the air a little bit.
Yeah.
They can fly now.
But this doesn't go on too long, and it's done pretty well.
It was quick, and it was kind of a
Yeah.
weak scene between the two of them.
Stop fighting me, Michael. I don't want to kill you. Join us. Never. It's too late. My blood is in your veins. So is mine. And he spins him around, fucking slams him down on those long, like, I don't even know what was that, a yak? So David's, he's on the antlers. Star comes out.
Yeah, and there's like nothing's changed.
Yeah.
Mike's like,
he's like, don't let him see me like this.
Yeah, I'm still a vampire, all this shit.
He's hanging in the fucking shadows behind Star.
And then Edgar's like, what's the deal? You destroyed the head vampire. It's over. And Michael goes, nothing's changed. Star says, he's right. I don't feel any different. And then Edgar goes, then there's still one more. And that's when Lucy and Max pull up in the Corvette.
Yep. Perfect timing. Let's have Andy scream 15 minutes about the timing of that part.
Nope.
How there's 60,000 people in the town and their timing is...
Nope. It's in the script, so it has to happen that way.
Yeah. Now you get it.
Lucy and Max come in the house. Lucy runs to Sam. Max goes like looking around.
Yeah.
And you really, if you're watching for the first time, you have your suspicions, but you're not sure. So you're studying Max going, what's he looking at?
Yep.
He sees David dead. And then David actually, when he turns David's face, and David has returned to the age that he was when he got to be a vampire. And he's bare face, no facial hair, all of his bone structure's back to normal, and he looks like he's like
he looks
younger. Like he did in Stand By Me. He looks like a kid,
younger,
like a young kid. And then Max has like this worried look on his face.
And she's about to give in because she realizes there's nothing I can do, and he has my boys.
She has no choice.
Yeah.
But then we hear La Cucaracha horn.
Yep.
Yeah.
And truck crashes through the house. Michael wakes up, gets up, jumps down, pushes Max from behind right into a fucking flying fence post.
Michael helped. He has the assist.
Yep, Michael has the assist.
But Grandpa gets
pierces
the kill.
him in the chest, sending him into the fireplace where he explodes into a ball of flames. And then
Death
the Frog
by
Brothers,
fireplace.
the Frog Brothers put on their goggles and like they're just watching it all with their goggles on and going, "Yeah, all right, yeah, yeah, we kicked their ass."
Crossfire.
Yeah, it's all over.
Yeah.
The light from the fridge illuminates Lucy, Michael, and Sam's faces, and they look like shocked, like he fucking knew.
Yeah.
So that's all I got. You guys got anything else on the movie before we rate it?
No,
I don't think so.
Bitch.
You guys know how I feel. I think there's no
I bet
suspense regarding
you're
my.
two.
There's no suspense regarding my rating, so I'll just go first.
Okay.
Guys.
Wait, what's the unit of rating that we're doing?
What's rated on a scale of 10 goddamn shit-sucking vampires?
That's necessary.
We have a first here, guys. This is a 10 out of a 10.
I knew it was
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. This is one of the greatest movies ever made. There's a combination of things that make this movie larger than life. Like I said before, it's a top 5, maybe even a top 3 for me. At times I have said it's like number 2 or 3. It has horror, it has comedy, it has drama, it has suspense, it has action. It's extremely sexy, I think.
Okay.
It's perfect. I love it so much, and it's a
Saxophone.
buy it. It's a buy it. Buy this fucking movie.
Oh yeah, I should have known that.
10 out of 10 and buy it. Oh my God. I'll go next. Oh. That's
How are you
insane.
going to follow that up?
Well, all right. I have a very complicated relationship with this movie because I was very excited. Of course, I love Lost Boys. Everybody loves Lost Boys. Lost Boys rule. I did find myself going, the fact that I know everything's going to happen because I've seen it so much, the excitement and maybe was lower than I had hoped. Some of the fun was less than I remembered. Some of the scenes went on a bit like, yeah, okay, whatever. There's a couple of bright spots, but it did not hold up like I thought it would. It was just interesting. I did not expect this at all. And I think it's because I'd seen it too many times, makes the rewatchability lower than I would normally give a movie because it didn't hold it like it normally would. So I'm going to say it's a 6 and a watch it. It's a good movie and definitely people should watch it. But don't do like I did and like own it and spin the fuck out of it.
No.
I mean,
Oh man, I watch
that's
it.
my suggestion.
I watch it every year, sometimes a couple
Okay.
times probably.
I bounced this up because of the cult classic, not even cult classic, just the classic nature of it and everything like that from my initial rating. So it's a 6 out of 10 and a watch for me.
Okay, same
And
rating as me.
Same type of thing. Like I knew the things that were going to happen. I liked several parts of it. It just like, so this to you is the same way it is Star Wars is to me. I think that it's a good movie. It's not as great as I remembered it should have been. Same thing as you said.
This is so tough.
Well, you guys aren't trashing it. I'm fine with your six
because
and watch. I mean, it's a B. It's a straight B. It's not
this
a B plus,
appreciation
it's a B.
of it as a cult classic and seeing it as that. It still is like high on my respect level. Even though I'm like watching it more recently, I'm like, me personally, I could probably not watch this again for a while, for like a long time, and it wouldn't bother me at all. Definitely,
they
at
actually
least watch it to formulate the opinion.
Every year at the Santa Cruz Boardwalk, they show this movie during the summertime at the Boardwalk.
Nice.
I would love to go watch it there.
That would be fun. See,
I
could rewatch it there.
I think that would be a fun stop on our cross country trip in the RV.
Yeah,
Sure. we book it around that.
Okay, next thing, guys, is it's time for our bi-weekly Fuckface Challenge.
Hell yeah.
Today we're doing could go any way. Could be funny, could be serious. Design a death scene for Tim Capello that takes place after his live performance at the Boardwalk. Tim Capello being the oily, sexy sax man.
Very sexy sax man.
Yeah, so
I'm going to let you go first.
I'll go first. I don't, I racked my brain for this one, guys. I wishy-washied, went a few different ways. So the saxophonist, it's that night after the concert. He's also he's walking to kind of his car.
Mm-hmm.
And then we all know David can get into their heads. He fuck with him. You got that one dude to see maggot. You got Michael to see maggots and shit. So he gets into Tim Capello's head and gets him to just start playing his saxophone, except for it's Careless Whisper. Do it.
Okay.
I fucking love that song.
But as he's playing it, we notice that he's turning blue and purple. For whatever reason, he's playing it, but he's fucking with his brain. He's not able to let him take a breath in.
Uh-huh.
So it's just he's losing it completely. But he just keeps playing it, and he's doing the hip thrust.
Oh, you have to do the hip thrust.
But at this point, they're over in the sand because the parking lot's by the beach. It's the boardwalk.
Right.
And as he's playing Careless Whisper, Marco and Dwayne and all of those guys, they're digging a big hole in front of him. And then eventually he passes out and falls into the hole.
Uh-huh.
And then they all push the sand back over. And then Marco or one of them goes, "Buried alive."
Polo.
You combined two of the ideas.
I did. On purpose.
Buried Alive being a hardcore band.
So they didn't turn him into a vampire, though. They just got into his brain and made him play till he passed out into a hole, and then they buried him.
Okay.
And he definitely would be dead after that.
Definitely.
Andy, you go next.
Do you want me to go next? Okay. So Tim Cappuccino is done with his set. There's those hot girls that were in the crowd. They were all about it, ready to go with him because the oily muscles and everything like that, and the saxophone. He knows how to tongue that reed, if you know what I mean. So they're all about it. They all hook up afterwards. Dude dies slowly of gonorrhea, just shitting himself on the toilet years later.
Does gonorrhea cause butt stuff?
I don't know.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay.
I wasn't in love with mine. I was just
mine has a little bit of and I'm not in love with mine, but mine does touch on. Well, you'll see.
Okay.
So he comes off the stage after his set, and he heads to there is a little indoor green room area of this thing.
Okay.
So he goes back to his green room. There are two super hot women in his green room waiting for him.
Like mine.
Okay.
He is completely oblivious to the fact that these women are actually accomplices of David and the boys.
Oh.
The women convinced him to drink wine out of the horn end of his saxophone. Now, it's not blood. Don't be fooled. It's not blood like what Michael drank. It's actually wine.
Okay.
They get him drunk with the promise that they will have a threesome with him.
Fuck yeah.
Once he is drunk enough, David and the boys appear in the green room. They tear him to pieces while drinking his blood. As Tim is dying, David asks him if he believes in God. And he replies by singing one final time, "Oh, I still believe." He tries to pump his fist in the air, but only has half of an arm since they've torn him apart. He closes his eyes and dies.
Yeah. So he's just blah, blah, blah.
I like that, actually. Do you still believe in God?
I still believe.
And his little nubs go, and there's blood going.
Yeah. Yep, and then he dies.
I like mine just slowly dying of gonorrhea, shitting himself to death.
Okay, guys, that closes the book on a fantastic movie, The Lost Boys.
Hey, everybody. Andy from the future here. We actually changed the order of things, and the next one that's coming out is our Christmas episode, and we rolled that off camera just because of everything that's going on. So the next video / podcast coming out is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. So join us for that one. That's going to be coming out here in a couple of weeks. All right, we'll talk to you later.
All right. Well, all of our socials at the Movie Roulette Podcast. Check us out on the YouTubes.
TheMovieRoulettePodcast.com. Interact with us. Like, share, subscribe, comment, rate.
Definitely like, because the algorithm sucks. If you guys like us, just fucking like it.
Even if you don't like us, just like
don't
it.
push the fucking button. Make confetti stuff comes
If you don't like, whether it's that you dislike us or if you dislike a movie, you like something about it. Whether you know us personally, whether you like the movie, there's a reason to share it and like it and do all the things that you need to do for helping us out.
Yeah.
The algorithm fucks everyone who doesn't spend a ton of money and have 1 million followers already. So help out the little guys.
Yeah, the little guys.
Bye. Enjoy the day.
Good night, bloodsucker.
Oh, yeah. Be excellent to each other.
Bye. My name's Corey Feldman.
Pain, through the grief, through the light, through the storm.